Okay. Hello, everybody, and thank you for coming. Welcome to GQUAT Traditions, where good friends become family, and family is everything. I see my cameras are telling me that there's somebody in here. Like, no kidding. Turn this off. Turn the do not disturb sign on. Now we're ready, right? Okay. Let's go. I think we're live. I don't see anybody yet, but I don't see why not. Let me go into the chat and see. Oh, I see the light on. Somebody's there. Fifi, thank you for coming and welcome, welcome, welcome. Girlfriend, we're getting ready to get some more snow up in here. Your chickens are doing well, though. And your little grandson is the cutest when he's out there. I now that's one thing I do miss. I miss having, I won't say livestock per se, because there was only a couple times that I had livestock for eating, but yeah, I didn't. I did mine were all friends. Let's see if I can start at the top because it's like everybody came in at one time. Let me carefully go up there because I have a habit of poofing people. There's Fifi. And hey, Rochelle. I guess you're getting some weather too, baby girl. Joanne Stevens, thank you for coming, sissy. And welcome, welcome, welcome. My sister, Joanne Stevens, all of my life, since the day my mother brought her home from the hospital, she has always been so supportive of everything I do. In fact, we were raised almost like twins. We are a year and a half apart, and we did everything together. The same, well, not all the sports, but some of the same ones, some of the same hobbies, like sewing and all the handcrafts. She's been doing it just as long as me. Oh, good idea. um Let me see. I'll show you what I was saying was a good idea. Okay. Oh, so Terry, I thought about you today, Terry, and I'll talk about it in a minute. I hate this brother machine, but I bought it because it's a runway something, a limited edition. I bought it because it has 100 decorative stitches and I can use them on my quilts and some of my stuff. Well, I took it apart, started sewing, got all the pieces to fit in, and guess what? The little thing that you set the tension for the bobbin holder thing, must have not been locked in, and now I have to take it apart and do it again. Okay. Rochelle said she's at the library printing a 3D printer to print out a quilting ruler. Now that's smart. I have invested over the years. I know I have bought hundreds of rulers, especially when I had my shop. And excuse me, I was involved in different quilting groups, and we used to do projects. Every project, every month, had a different stinking ruler. Okay, I'm going to show you some of my livestock in a minute, Fifi. If you are still here, my darling, you guys, we're supposed to get another 2 inches of snow over here in New England where I am. Okay, everybody's saying hello. Full of energy for sure. Oh, the baby. The baby. We have a 6, 7 month old and a 5-year old. Those two guys, they are my great great grandsons. And seeing them together, they are hysterical. They are hysterical. The 7 month old is a diesel. He's a bruiser. The 5 year old is fearless. They took him to the whatever the pits are where they jump and they swing. This guy goes flying through the air with the greatest of ease. I mean, well, it was a loose tooth. He knocked a tooth out in there just last week. Maybe it was Sunday, and they're just fearless. Those guys, my guys. My girls are busy cooking. So Terry is saying hello. Oh, Terry, I wish you were here to help me. I refuse to pay $160 to take this machine to the shop just to have him fit that little thing in. I'm going to do it. And there's another one. Oh, my blue featherweight needs a screw in the motor head. I'm going to call the featherweight shop and get it. Okay. I'm so excited, you guys. I want to show you something. We're talking this month, as you know, is Black History Month, and everybody who comes in the channel is witnessing current history. And why is it current history? Because Auntie Ellen is 3/4 of a century. Do you realize I'm older than 75 years old? I have 3/4 of a century of living history that I'm going to share with y'all. Yes, 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 that's your punishment for coming in. Rochelle says they got a lot yesterday. Well, the good thing about me living in this apartment with amenities, and you might hear some banging later on, you guys, because my next door neighbor is getting new flooring. I want to get flooring. I want to take this carpet out, but I have too much stuff in here. Too much stuff has to be moved. Juanita Campbell, thanks for coming and welcome, welcome, welcome. Maria Graham, welcome, welcome. Unbiased, let's say the hardest working woman on YouTube. Oh, I'm so proud of you, Nieta. You work so hard. I looked at you Tuesday, and Monday night I was in the bushes with Miss Joy. You guys, I don't have I would fall off the chair if I did a 3 hour live or 4 hour live stream. Katie, Greenland Katie does that. William does that. And Jess at night. Y'all, I tip my hat to you. I just can't do it. I'm just unable. Terry says thank you. And Terry, you inspire me to tinker around with my machines. I used to have I used to have a machine guy in North Carolina about 30 miles away. We were buddies, and I'd have like a set fee, almost like a maintenance fee, and I would take one sewing machine every month. And oh, you bobbin issues. This one, this machine, I it's the timing, because where's that little scrap piece? Or I'll show it to you on Saturday. The zigzag was perfect on the top, but I could hear it in the bottom where it goes around and catches that stitch. And brother machines are plastic, you guys. I like all aluminum machines. I'm just spoiled like that. Am I buying any more? No, no, no. The only thing I'm trying not to buy is, I'm not even going to tell you, because I have an industrial machine right in the corner that only needs to be threaded. And that's going to be tomorrow in the snow, because I'm not going to be able to do my doctor's appointment. My legs are so tight today, you guys. Uh, Yesterday was leg day at physical therapy, and that Nautilus machine, and I do it on 30 pounds. That's not a lot, but I'm 77 years old, you guys, and I do 3 sets of 10 to the front, to the side, to the back. Then, oh, I won't even tell you all the stuff that I do. All the, just a lot. But you'll see why. I got the biggest thighs. Nikki, the everyday life of an OCD chick, when she sees me, I know she doesn't know whether those are her thighs or my thighs. And everybody's speaking. I'm so excited. I have so many things to show you. Hola, hermana. Oh, I have some Yankee sister. I have some ginger that's already sprouted for you. I have some communion that's already fermented from you. Oh, thank you, Maria. I had a funny story. I'll take a break right now to tell you about my hair because I'm trying to grow locks, right? Well, my second husband, the one that says he fattened me up and saved my life, we had a little country store in North Carolina. It had an arcade, a gas station. I had food. The we had a pool table in there, and I had an ABC license. I used to sell alcohol. Well, one day I had my hair out and it was long. I had a flat iron and it was hanging down my back. Well, my Sunday school, oh, and mind you, in North Carolina, you guys, it's an open carry state. My husband used to walk around with pearl handled 45s on his hip. We always kept the shotgun loaded, in the back in the storage area. Everybody, I had a gunner or whatever, I mean, a pew pew under the counter, all the stuff, right? So one day my Sunday school teacher came in and my hair wasn't pulled back in a bun and it was hanging down. He said, "Oh, wow." And he bent down, he grabbed a handful of hair, right? Like one of my neighbors did today, one of my female neighbors. She and I have been friends for 25 years. She said, "Oh, and your hair." I'm like, "I don't know. It's just doing what it wants to." But the Sunday school teacher reached down and grabbed a handful of my hair. Boom, like those old Western movies. The door bursts open, and my husband was a black cowboy, you guys. He was Western from head to foot all the time, daily. We had horses and stuff. I mean, he wasn't a cowboy for a trade, but he dressed Western every day. All the fancy boots, the fancy buckles, the hats. He was like Boss Hog, right? So all of a sudden, the door bursts open, and here comes my beloved husband, my husband, honey. And he sees this guy with a handful of my hair. My husband comes over and he looks at me, and the Sunday school teacher backed up. My husband had like hazel eyes, baby. I don't know what color they were that day. They were white. They were like anger coming out. You couldn't even see them. He looked at me, and my husband, he looked down and he said, "Let me tell you something, little girl. As long as you live and your A double Z points to the ground, don't you never, ever let me walk up on you and see another man's hands in my wife's hair." And Hunty, guess what? I never did. Oh, Brandon says those places are fun. I've had a lot of fun in my life, you guys. I got some photos out for you to show you some of the things since you're watching Living History. I can't believe it's 14 after already. Oh, so Terry, you know what? It's time for me to put on my big girls and do some timing things myself because It's not that I can't pay the money. I refuse because I know that I can do it. And I used to work on my machines in North Carolina. My problem now is since I'm totally blind in one eye, everything takes so long. Threading the needle, even with a piece of white paper, everything is distorted when you look at it with one eye. So you're watching my genealogy journey a few videos ago. Thank you. Butter Roll Boutique, welcome, welcome. Our treasured home. I thought about you, Nancy, because you know what I was thinking when we were talking about genealogy and you were talking about your 1% Nigerian Nigerian blood. I know where it came from because all of us who believe in some type of Christianity go back to Adam and Eve. We got at least 1 or 2 drops of blood from there. We are all connected. We are all connected. Thank you. Unbiased said, please hit the like button. Yes, y'all. I took some photos out. You all are going to fall on the floor. Can't wait to show you. Oh, you know what? I would go get it. The ginger. Well, actually, this one is Yankee Sisters. Whoa. This one is Yankee Sisters. I don't want to get it on my kimono. My daughter will get me in trouble. I started this. You guys saw me when I sprouted it. And it's going to soon need to be repotted because look at it, Yankee Sister. I started it January 20th, 2026. January, February. It's only 1 month. Auntie Phoebe said, no, don't touch her hair. Do not. Do not. Do not. So that one's yours, Yankee Sister, along with some alleged communion fermentation. Wink, wink. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. But, okay, I want to show you guys some photos. And hey, Jags, the slanger, the honey slanger. I thought about you too because, well, I see you every night. You're all acting up in there. But I had to buy some garbage honey because on my demo on this Saturday, when I'm sewing or doing something else, I try to do something in the oven. Why? Because I want to show you guys that 15 minutes a day, you don't need like a dedicated setup. You don't need an embroidery machine over there, a machine over there that does 100 decorative stitches, an industrial machine over there, some of them hidden in the box over there. This is just some of the 100 stitches that machine I was working on, and some of them I really really love, like this one that looks like little leaves, the circles. There are so many of them, and I use them as a decorative stitch as part of my quilting on small quilts. I brought some quilts out to show you guys. Jags, I know you were laughing when I told you about my husband talking about a double Z. Oh, don't let you never. Man, I didn't know what he was going to do. My husband, and I didn't know if he was going to try to slap me or what. I I got up. He was so mad. I went around. He said, "Let me talk to you." I said, "I don't want to talk to you." So I ran around the corner, and we had his and hers BMWs. His was an automatic. Mine was a stick shift. I jumped in my car. We were at the store. I just left and went home. I popped them gears, baby. I left. He said, he said, "Baby, don't let nobody tell you can't run." He said, because when I ran right past him and ran around the corner in the block, and then I got in my car and I left, right? And he said, When I got to the corner, I didn't even know which way you went. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, almost peed in your pants laughing. Okay, let me show you some photos. Oh, scrapping like a lady. Hello, thank you for coming and welcome. Donzel Cooper, I'm just acting a fool. Oh, I know what. I'm going to show you some other pictures, but when I was going through pictures, I don't wear shorts anymore, and I don't wear a bathing suit. My daughter makes me wear a cover up. But I'll show you some of my pictures of my yesteryear, not that long ago. This one, I was 50, and they were talking about being thick, talking about my hair. How about them thighs? I told you all about that prisoner that tried to kiss me. Oh, you're praying for an industrial sewing machine? I'm trying not to get the Juki. My credit card, one of them, is almost paid off. Child, do you see those thighs? And my trainer in physical therapy has me doing all these weights, scrapping like a lady. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I try to be I tries to be a lady. But speaking of North Carolina, I wanted I saw this. I have lots of photos. I want to get out. This was just a little section of the front yard that my great grandchildren would go out there in the summertime, and that would be their office. They would go get some chickens and have them walking around. Some of the Connie Corsos. Hey, Mona did what? Thank you. Yeah, I did have Tina. I still got Tina Turner thighs in my old age. Maybe that's why my back is hurting. All that dragging in my wagon. So this is what the kids would go outside, and I think like the front of the property was about a hundred yards at least across the front. And I used to be a licensed Cane Corso breeder. This is what some of my dogs look like. Oh, look at those tick tick. I was ticked to death. And then somebody gonna put their hand in his wife's hair. Mm-mm. After he done fattened me up, he said he saved my life because I went from 135 to like about 165 on there. And when you're muscular, muscle weighs more than fat. I didn't look big, but I was heavy. And somebody told the kids one time I bought a litter of pigs, right? There were six pigs, about three or four of them were white, one was brown, one was black and white, and one was black. So Terry says, "What a gorgeous dog." I had about 10 of them at one time, which is why I moved to North Carolina to have animals. Well, somebody told the kids that we were going to make bacon out of brownie. So I had to take the pigs until they were ready to go in the freezer locker and put them on somebody else's property. Hey, Nichols, 13. Thank you for coming and welcome, welcome, welcome. Mona, what did you have me dying laughing doing? Well, you always have me dying laughing doing something. I saw all your fabric. Well, you told us about the fabric in your yesterday afternoon where you guys, Mona has auctions on her channel. Those of you who sew. And by the way, if you are a content creator, don't forget to put exclamation mark GQUAT to drop your link. Exclamation mark GQUAT to drop your link. I'm going to hide that so I have more room to show you guys pictures and funny things. And I brought some quilts out to show you guys because You're looking at living history, at least three quarters of a century of it. That reminds you of your pig raising days. Well, I brought them home and we put them in one of the horse stalls. Boy, they took their noses, they dug them all up. I was glad to put them on somebody else's property. I was glad to put them on somebody else's property. So these are a couple of the Cane Corsos. I used to show my dogs. So I think I started out with about four. When I lived here around the corner from where I am now, I had a house in this neighborhood, less than a mile away. Before I show you an interesting picture and read the headlines, I want to show you this picture of me with all my pearls on, looking like a lady. And no, that wasn't my husband next to me. This was after my second husband and I weren't together. I was with my third husband, and I lived in this place in LA called Baldwin Hills. Why? Because it was up in the hills. And actually, Tina Turner used to live in that neighborhood. And Esther Roll, JJ, his mother was one of my neighbors. I used to see her. At that time, I had Great Danes. Those dogs weighed 160 pounds, 170. And I had my dogs trained for hand signals. And these dogs in Italy used to hunt wild boar. Wild boar. They were powerful, big, powerful dogs. They were my babies. Well, I used to see this little guy every morning when I would walk my Great Dane. And thank you, Maria Graham. And he had on like his pajamas and a matching robe all the time. They looked like they were silk or something. And he would go to the curb and pick up his paper and go inside. And I would say, "Good morning, sir. How are you?" So Terry says her friend shows Great Danes. I have a friend that used to show horses. She's still showing her horses on my Facebook channel. You could see some of them. In fact, my baby brother Joe stole my car. I was a police officer at the time. I couldn't even report it because Psalm 146, how you doing? Yeah, they were big. And I used to walk four of them at a time. And of course they were stronger than me. I'd walk them down to the park or in back of the school and throw sticks and let them fetch. But anyway, the story about this guy, I like that little shoot bob haircut too. Wasn't that cute? And the guy would say, "Miss, do you have that big dog?" I had a Harlequin Great Dane at the time, actually two Great Danes at that house, and I said, "Yes, sir. I have the dog, and I've got him. He's good. You're good." And I'd have him sit. Who was that? Uno, Uno, Uno. That dog was trained. I got Uno from somebody, I forgot, that couldn't handle him. When I went to get him, I was driving a Carmen Gia. He was sitting like shotgun. And every time we would go by a bus stop or something, people would back away from the curb. I've always almost had big dogs. Hola, hola, Bouger Prepper. Thank you, Bouger. Did you see them big old thick thighs? On your auntie, them big old things, them ham hocks. So going back to the guy on on this thing, on the photo, where'd I put it? Oh, one day I had gotten a second degree in law, and I was going to the law school, and I used to have a little two seater Cadillac. It was called an Alante. Or sometimes I drive my husband's car, a different V12 that was fast. I mean, vroom, coming down the hill. And there would always be this little man in this little Buick in front of me. I was going to night school because I worked during the day. Terry's right. When you have a big dog, you train them in verbal and sign language. I do the sign languages automatically. Sometimes getting off the elevator and people will be on their walker rushing, and I'm like, whoa, giving them the back up, stop. I'm giving the dog signals. They laugh. So I'm dogging this little car, and he's like going all the way to the law school. Then I finish undergraduate school, and I decided to take some law school classes. So I'm looking down the row, where all the presidents of the college were there. Oh, and I asked the guy, what is his name? He said his name was Justice. I'm like, oh, hi, Justice. Oh, Maria Graham. Thank you. Thank you. You guys, I'm going to have to do a little dance. Dude, hold on. Yeah, y'all. Oh, Auntie Ellen used to get them big old thighs dancing. And don't forget, I used to be a majorette at Howard U. I still get goosebumps when I hear one of those traditionally black colleges when the band goes ba boom boom, baby. I get goosebumps. Look, I get goosebumps. I just want to dance and get my baton and woo, throw it up and cut a fool. So going back to my neighbor, we're talking about Justice, right? I'm looking down this long hall and I see his photo on the wall. He was the president of the law school, you guys. And the reason they called him Justice because he was an appellate court justice in real life. In real life. So I used to go in his office, and it had this long what after I knew that that was his office, the president of the university, and I worked part-time in the library. He'd come down there and talk to me. In his office, he had this long conference table, and I was saying, Justice, how did you get to Harvard in 1927? A black man, and he was from the South. He was from Mississippi. And he told me that his mother moved to, excuse me, his mother moved there at some time. And then he was able to, oh, but back then at Harvard, the black students had to live off campus with this unheated thing. But it was just interesting finding out about that part of living history, like with Jesse Jackson when they were, marching to integrate and stuff, having lived through all of that stuff. But anyway, I said, so Justice, because I'm still, putting this man's name, Justice, Appellate Court Justice. I had another friend that went to Howard University with me. His name was JB, Johnny Butler. Remember him, Sissy? And he became an appellate court justice. And not only an appellate court justice, the other guy, my buddy, he was the Secretary of Labor for the state of Pennsylvania. So Justice signed this with best wishes, Justice Bernard Jefferson. So you see his writing. But one day I was messing around waiting for classes to start, and I go busting in his office. Hey, Justice, how you doing? Can I come in and sit down? And all the other students will be, how do you know Justice Jefferson? They called him Justice Jefferson. I just called him plain Justice, right? Because that's what I used to call him at home. And then I was looking at him, And I said, because he was very fair, his secretary told me that she didn't know what his race was. You see how fair he is. And she said, I don't know what his nationality or what his race is. I just work for him. So I was sitting there and I was thinking, and I'm like, Justice, are you related to Thomas Jefferson? Because I knew that Thomas Jefferson, when this guy lived in Virginia, had children with slaves that were black. So he looked at me. He said, Ellen, you are the only person in all these years who ever made the quantum leap. He said, yes and no. And he says, I'm related to one of Thomas Jefferson's nephews. I'm like, well, Lordy, you don't know. You don't know. History in the making. So I'm going to pull up the chat so I can see what you guys are showing because I want to read you an article. Anthony asked me about it. You know, I don't know what's going on. I turned off I turned off the monetization so that I could read to you and we could keep up without, but they put what they want to. They put what they want to on there. So let me see. I'm going to look at the chat over here. View channel. Excuse me, you guys. I'm trying to. I don't know why I can't pull it up. I don't know. This thing is doing the funniest things. Okay, here's live. It won't let me see it. But anyway, I want to tell you a story and read you a story. A couple of weeks ago, I was, maybe it was today's Thursday, Saturday. Anthony asked me what was one of the wildest things that happened to me in my first job as a police officer after college. And I found this article that was in the newspaper. And what happened is I was arresting this guy for disorderly conduct. And we went to the precinct. I put my pew pew up. You put it up in a locked area. And I was booking this guy fingerprinting. Yeah, YouTube is acting cray cray. And when I turned around and talked to the guy, he kissed me on the mouth. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And I accidentally slapped the cowboy piss out of him. It was just instinct. Oh my God. He assaulted me. Well, I bet he wouldn't do that anymore. But anyway, I gave him the $50 to get out. I didn't want to go to court. And 2 weeks later, I got a call to come in to the precinct. And this is not a very good picture, but you guys, it's what, 50 years old? So this is Auntie Ellen, that little tiny thing, that little tiny waist. Yes, I wore gloves back then. Had to touch people, didn't I? And my captain of my precinct, he's the one that wrote me up for silent insolence that time when I was rolling my eyes at my sergeant. But anyway, 2 weeks later, the guy ended up being a cake baker. And he came in and he bought this huge sheet cake that two shifts of police officers ate off the cake. I didn't eat the cake because I wasn't eating that powdered glass. But anyway, that whole table over there is a sheet cake. So here's the article that was in the newspaper. It says several weeks ago, a lookout was sent over teletype for 5 subjects wanted in connection with 3 murders. Anyway, no, that's a different story. A couple of weeks ago, Officer Penny Bolden, that wasn't my real name, Penny Bolden advised a disorderly man that he better move on or be arrested. The man failed to comply and was arrested. Penny brought the man, that's my nickname, brought the man into the station house and started the necessary paperwork. When asked his occupation, he replied, cake decorator. Penny didn't pay particular attention, but perhaps she will in the future. Several days later, a large box arrived at the station addressed to Officer Bolden. Upon opening the package, everyone was surprised to see a beautiful sheet cake about 1.5 feet by 2 feet, decorated with bright yellow, blue, and green icing in the image of a policewoman with a motor scooter directing someone to move on. What about the cake? Penny gave a second thought about it for obvious reasons, but while she was thinking about it, hold on, you guys, I got a pain. I don't know what's going on. Hold on. Sorry. All right. Okay. It says Penny believes that the more, no one would admit eating the cake, but an indictment naming Sergeant Jerry Radford and some other officers are forthcoming. Penny believes that the moral of the story is be kind to cake decorators and you'll be paid in calories. I didn't have a problem with calories then. I got up to 135 from 124, but I never got much past that. All that running every day. I used to run 2 miles a day for years and years and years. Even around here, 25 years ago, with the big dogs, I didn't run because I couldn't have them charging down the street, these big dogs. 600 pounds of dogs, on leashes. And even though they were obedience trained, but you can never tell. You had to keep them under control. But I'd walk 2 miles a day or bicycle or something. All right, so let me show you some quilts. Now, this is interesting. It says that one day ago I was live. Oh, now I can finally see the live. Drink some water. Thank you. YouTube is acting nuts again. Okay, so okay, I'm going to show you some quilts first, and then I'm going to show you a newspaper article. Why? Because it's Black History Month, and you are looking at living history. And this is an article about Auntie Ellen in the newspaper in Warrenton, North Carolina. Are you guys interested in this? Put a 1 in the chapter if you want me to read it. This is me at my long arm machine. Apparently, I was going to give this copy to my granddaughter Rita, but I never did. I'll give it to her now. They actually forwarded me a color photo of me long arming. Put a 1 in the chat if you want me to show it to you. If not, read it to you in a minute. Otherwise, I accidentally slapped him. I look like 2 pounds soaking wet. I didn't have any fat. I had, oh, you do want to see it? Okay. You want me to read you this? This talks about the country in North Carolina. I was a police officer in Washington, D.C., though, after the riots, and I was with the first class of women that did street patrol. You all like all my funny stories? All right now. So, Bougie, Black Beauty, ain't no stranger. Mr. Mossberg, baby, we rock with it. I had to qualify with it. Oh, and when you have a pew pew and you have a job using your pew pew, there are 3 levels of marksmanship. Just to carry a pew pew in that job, you had to be a marksman. Then above that is a sharpshooter. Then above that is expert. Like you're ready for the Navy SEALs or something. And then you can do it on a horse, in the dark underwater. I was that good at my 135 pounds. Darth, how are you? How's your weather up there? But before I show you the story, I'll show you some of my quilts that I quilted on the thing. Why? Because that's what Garden Quilt and Art Traditions stands for. That's what GQUAT is. So this one I made in the label on it's not right. That's when I finished it. I'm gonna just do this. This is a wreath, a wreath, and it's using motive fabrics. And you use a little expert is the medal you received. Me too. But I'd always put one like underneath the belt buckle and one right here. Hey, Miss T with the T, how you doing? How you doing? I can't sing, but I see you. I come through. So this one is motive fabrics, and they're all flowers. And I want you to see how up close how this wreath is made. This is the back with flowers because I always love flowers. And what you do, how you make this quilt, you sew all the blocks together in a square. Then you take this little ruler that's shaped like this and you put it on the seam and you cut them all out. And then you sew them all back together and you have to keep them in order or they get messed up. Oh, and I don't know if you see the machine quilting on here. I put butterflies, or there's another one that looks like butterflies. I forgot what it was. It was a pantograph. A pantograph is a pattern that you use on the long arm machine, and it's like a pre-printed pattern, and there's a way that you can follow it and trace it. That's what I did on this one. Now, this one I did in 2020. It's an American flag, but I want to show you that it's the same kind of I could actually push this back and stand up. Hey Jess, how you doing? I'm showing some of my real quilts, not my messing around. I'll see if I can do this for you guys. And this one is made like an American flag. The name of this one is called Freedom is Not Free. But I want you to see that all of these stars are different fabrics and different colors. It's kind of complicated to do it. But that's what I used to do. And I just put this red fabric on the back. That fabric was funny. They have a lot of sewing factories and mills in North Carolina. And I went to somebody's yard sale, and that red fabric, I bought 160 yards of it. Hey, Melanie Taylor, thanks for coming and welcome. And hello to anyone I missed wrestling with these um, quilts, but I wanted you, because you guys see me starting stuff. I'm not like as good as Rachel and Miss Joy. I can only do so much, and I have to stop and take a break. Else, and I don't think you guys mind. You When I get enough, I'll say, well, you guys, I'll finish it or I'll put it in the thumbnail. Oh, I know what I can do now. I know what I can do. I can make this bigger. Okay. Now, because this one, I have a couple more small ones to show you. This one is an optical illusion, and it's all peppers. If you look, this is actually, I'm going to try to show you a 9 patch. Every single block is different. Every single one is different. That's a row of 3. Here's a row of 3. See how when you cut them apart and put them together, sorry, it's kind of hard to see it with the other quilt in the background. I tried to wear black clothes. And then this is the last 3. The last 3 blocks. Hey, Tasharia. Baby girl, you missed it. When Auntie Ellen was in shape, when I used to do my thing. and but you know what happened with this? So this was peppers, and they have what they call repetitions when you buy fabric, and it's like ever so many inches. It's a repetition of the same color. It's called a kaleidoscope quilt, and you cut the kaleidoscope by either making 6 or 8 pieces, cutting them in wedges, and sewing them back together. Well, when I started sewing these peppers together, like some people in the live stream, and they do this in their chair, that makes me nauseous. I don't know why. Or some of the backgrounds that people put in. I woke up from a coma 11 years ago, but I don't know if it's something with that or because I have one eye. I don't know. It just makes sissies, you said that quilt is hot. So this one is like an optical illusion. It was supposed to be a big quilt, but after 9 blocks, thank you, Miss T with the T. It says Hot Pepper Kaleidoscope, designed by Penny Ellen Pankey from red pepper fabric strips. Each block is different, 29 inches by 29 inches. I made this in North Carolina in 2009. You know what happened, you guys? I'm not a gypsy, but the property in North Carolina, my family and I purchased in 1982 and kept it until I want to say 2025. But I had other houses and other places in addition, and other husbands. It moved on. May they all 3 rest in peace. And I still don't let anybody put their hands in my hair. I was doing my thing. Doing my thing. And back then, I used to do all traditional fabrics, all of the standard fabrics that you see. And it was when I was in North Carolina that one of my fellow quilters gave me a pack of charm squares. Those are 5-inch squares, and they were all African fabrics. I was in love. I had never touched batiks before. I mean, except in the quilt shop. So then I started collecting batiks and African fabrics. So here's an article in the Warren, North Carolina newspaper. Somebody saw some of my quilts at an exhibit, and she asked if she could come out to the farm out there with the pigs and the goats and the chickens. I had one cow one time. Uh, Even when I moved back here 10 years ago, my daughter was like, "My mother has chickens. Where are they?" They didn't even know. I had goats, little goats. I had ducks so fat they couldn't even fly. Some of my quilting, they were called Muscovy ducks. Fifi, I don't know if you know about Muscovy ducks. And these ducks were so fat, they couldn't even fly. So two of my quilting friends came over one day and the ducks got out. The funniest thing you ever saw, these 80-year-old ladies chasing these fat ducks. And when they finally got them, they just picked them up and threw them over the fence. But I had barbed wire around the outer extremities where the horses were and where some of the dog areas and the outer areas had hot wire around it. For those of you who never lived in the country, what hot wire is, it's hooked into an electrical outlet, and anything that touches it will get shocked and back up. Okay, now I will read the article to you. It says mixed media artist leaves no waste lifestyle. Y'all, I don't waste anything. For mixed media artist Ellen Pankey, who lives near Warrenton, extra fabric, scraps of wood, and even feed sacks are not trash. She transforms these items and other everyday objects into craft projects as part of her no waste lifestyle. I have so much fun, says Auntie Ellen. Before I throw something away, I ask myself, is there some way I can use it? The former adjunct professor at the University of Bridgeport in Connecticut. Yep, that was me. I used to teach title searching at the University of Connecticut, but I taught other college classes too. But anyway, at least y'all know I wasn't lying about it. This was an article on November 15th, 2011. And it says, I wanted to, the former adjunct professor said, began quilting some time ago when she was faced with the dilemma of what to give people who seemed to have everything. I wanted to give something I made with my own hands, Pankey said. Quilting developed into a hobby while she worked and grew into one of her many crafting passions after she retired to Warren County to live on property that she has owned for 30 years. Pankey converted the upper level of her home into a 1,500 square foot studio. A long arm quilting machine and frame take up a portion of her workplace, along with several sewing machines. I used to have about 35 sewing machines then. Everybody's saying hello in there. Someone wanted it freshly squeezed. Oh, Auntie Joanne is showing off. Her orange tree is 2 stories high outside. And she has a Myers lemon tree that's about that high as well. A long table in another area of the studio provides the perfect space for spreading out a craft project. Along the walls are examples of her creative recycling. An old shoe rack serves as a thread holder. Old suitcases are transformed into cabinets, and a container that had been used for shipping ammunition, I converted it into a storage for some of my boutique fabrics. Pankey used leftover materials to construct a design wall. I'm going to make a little design wall on Saturday here for some of her future projects. She never wastes quilting fabric and saves 2.5-inch squares of fabric. Pankey has used 2,440 of such leftovers to make a full-size quilt. That was the quilt that Turf Therapy bought, you guys. It had all 2.5-inch squares. If fabric scraps are too narrow to be cut into 2.5-inch squares, she cuts them into smaller strips and crochets them into rugs. Scrap fabric is also ideal for making pot holders. Pankey loves beading and making jewelry, including her own interpretations of the popular feather earrings. I haven't made any jewelry lately. I have several broken pieces of necklaces that I need to fix. You need some hot wire for the squirrels in your garden. They're gonna go right under it or jump over it, Miss T. Oh, I will email me and I'll tell you what to do. I'll tell you what to do. Okay. Panky raises chickens, ducks, goats, and dogs in her yard. When any of her colorful chickens loses feathers, Panky saves them and uses them in her earring designs. We used to have wild peacocks and wild birds on the property. I lived on 4 acres, but I used to lease 21 acres more back when we used to have the horses. As fast as I can market them, people buy them. She uses leftover feed sacks to make totes. Ellen used to work at the International Festival of Arts and Ideas in Connecticut and would teach people how to make things with gourds, among other crafting ideas. Today, she still keeps a supply of gourds on hand for various projects. Pankey is also taking a cabinet making class. I took a woodworking shop. She plans to transform leftover wood from class into ladders for her chickens. Did that, been there, done that. Her yard is a study in recycling. Pankey's dog chewed holes in their dog houses, so they became goat houses. Yeah, the dogs would get out, so I used them for my goats. Pankey puts her 17 chickens in the garden to eat bugs. Her 2 goats, which stay in the same area, clean out the weeds without the use of chemicals. Back in her studio, interesting items go into a box designated for UFOs, unfinished projects. And then it has some more stuff. Tell us what to do about the squirrels. They wanted $8,000. Oh, to remove your insulation? Well, I don't want PETA to come after me. Okay, anybody that wants to know what to do to get rid of squirrels and groundhogs, I have them in my garden. I didn't do what I needed to do. Yankee sister, Yankee sister knows I only mostly plant herbs and things that grow underground. The squirrels steal those. My miniature pumpkins, miniature watermelons. I I plant things that the 4-legged squirrels and the 2-legged squirrels can't see or take. Or a lot of celery, they don't like that. They don't like the mint. They don't like the mint. I have a lot of biennial flowers like echinacea. I grow a lot of herbs. A lot. Not one to brag about the gardening, but 2 years ago in WIG 2022, I won the indoor grow off. So if you guys don't see me planting a lot, I know how to plant outside. I know how to do hydroponics. At 3/4 of a century, baby, I've been there, done that. Only thing I don't do is have other men's with their hands in my hair. I don't do not allow that. Okay, so the last part of this is while Pankey's list of what she can make from everyday objects goes on and on, she also enjoys sharing her love of quilting with others. She's a member of the board of directors of the Carolina Long Arm Association, which will be holding a quilt show in 2012 as part of the Heritage Quilters collection. And it has my phone number in there. Used to be. So anyway, you guys, I I like I said, I come on here. You guys keep me focused. I do 15 minutes a day. I could be much more productive. I I I I need to finish what I already have. All those black totes at the top. Oh, so Terry knows I bought a, a Grace frame to finish those quilts. I have 60 finished perfectly quilt show worthy quilts. I have them ready. I just need to do it. I just need to sit down and do it. If I had unbiased energy and Miss Joy, excuse me, I got to get my tissue out, wipe my eye, I would be finished. But you know what? I don't do anything I don't feel like doing. When I get tired, I finish. Good night, Maria. See you. I'm not famous. Those are small articles. Well, let me show you guys a couple of quilts before you go, because one, we're talking about Black History Month, and I told you, oh, this was one of my little strip quilts that I made with some of my first African fabric that one of the deaconesses at my church brought me when she went to Senegal and Gambia, and she hand carried the fabric, and I made her a personal size quilt. I didn't even know how to miter corners then. I just made a plain corner. I mean, do what you know, do what you want. So Terry says she doesn't do anything she doesn't feel like doing. I've already done it, you know. Now this is one I really am proud of and I want to show you. When my grandfather passed, Grandpap Charlie in Pennsylvania, all my mother had was one shirt of his. I cut the shirt up, I fussy cut it, and I made her a king size quilt. I have to find the photo of it because it's at her house. And this quilt was what I did with the leftovers. Grandpap Charlie quilt from his shirt. This little throw is 45 inches by 64 inches long by his granddaughter Ellen Pankey. I made it in 2022 in Norwalk. So I was showing unbiased. I love backings that are pieced. I'm going to show you the backing first. And on the back, you can actually see the long arm quilting. Okay, now I'll show you. And I know that some of you have recently lost loved ones, and I want to show you, you don't have to have a lot. Pescatarian was telling me that her mother sewed, so she has some fabrics. I'll show you the part. I bought fabrics that looked kind of like vintage fabrics, but the only part in this quilt, you see this? I fussy cut the flannel from Grandpap Charlie's shirt. Here's another one. I'll try to stand up and show it to you guys, maybe half at a time. And this is an original pattern, and it's called improvisational. I know maybe by Saturday I'll take this quilt in back of me down and put this one up so that you can see it. And I just made up blocks for this one. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed your journey into Black History Month and your 3/4 of a century that you've covered with me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget. Oh, so Terry says she hopes one day I'll get to it. I will. I will. I would show it to you, but it's just sitting on top of the special table that I bought for it. And I want to be able to sit down uninterrupted. And when I have another sewing machine, I'll show it to you Saturday. It's my 60-year-old Singer Model 338 that was gifted to me for a graduation present. And in high school, Auntie Joanne got one as well. But guess what? My brother got a car when he went to college. He got a car. So, do any of you have any? Oh, the email address is ellenpanky@gmail.com. If you want to know how to remove the squirrels and groundhogs on your property, email me and I will tell you. Okay. Now, Saturday, I was going to make a blueberry cobbler, but Sunday is my granddaughter's birthday, and I know they're going to have cake and sweets already. So I won't make his birthday has already passed. My great granddaughter. Thank you. Thank you, Mona. It says, he probably doesn't have the car as opposed to you still having this. Oh, you know what? I hate to say this, and hopefully he won't see this. My brother traded that car for a motorcycle, and he was in a very, very bad motorcycle accident in Boston. Oh my gosh. Some years ago. And my son says he remembers it because, mind you, I didn't cry. I wasn't emotional. And my son said he never heard me scream before. And when I got the phone call, I screamed on the phone. And my son says he can still remember that to this day. But that's how I am about my family. Hello, Up Designs Customs. Well, I do have this sewing machine, Terry, and it's just like new. I have all the parts, all the everything. And the manual, though, was on the top floor at my mother's house. And my sister Joanne's identical machine is up there somewhere. So, you guys, Mother, Ego Amote. All right, you guys. Well, I appreciate you for hanging with me. I don't see the time. Oh, it's like an hour and 13 minutes. Appreciate you. In American Sign Language, this is an I, this is an L, this is a U, and this is like visiting your old Nana, your old auntie. I appreciate each and every one of you. All right. If you're here for the replay, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And thank you in the bushes, moderators. And again, Maria Graham, thank you for the $10 super chat. Don't forget to wait for the outro.